What? Who? Me? Am I vaccinated? No. But I identify as a vaccinated person, so checkmate, bitches.
Ha! Checkmate, indeed. I too identify as a vaccinated person. Sometimes I even identify as a beautiful black woman. I know that YouTube promotes its black creators, so YouTube, here I am. Promote me. Thank you. A couple months ago, I saw a story in Canada. A father was jailed for failing to use the correct pronouns to address his 14-year-old daughter. 14 years old. That's going to be important later. Now, at the time, I wanted to make a video because I felt indignated by the story. I wanted to share it with the world, but I talked to my friends, I talked to my brothers, and I came down. It was just Canada after all, right? Wrong. Boy, was I wrong. In today's video, I'm going to show you a story in America of what happens when the state comes for your child and the threat it poses for parental rights. Then, in order to cleanse our palates, I'll show you some social justice warriors who are attempting to articulate the logic which they do not possess. It's gonna be fun. Maybe a little disturbing, but fun. So this is a story I was talking about from a few months ago in Canada. Canadian father jailed for opposing child's gender transition therapy. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I'm not Tim Pool. I'm not The Quartering. Those are great channels. You should give them a follow, even though they got, millions of subscribers. Maybe give me a subscribe too. I got 300. Anyway, a Canadian father was arrested on Tuesday on charges of contempt of court for publicly insisting to refer to his biologically born daughter as his daughter and using feminine pronouns to refer to the child. This is unbelievable. Robert Hoogland from Surrey, British Columbia, has a 14-year-old daughter who reportedly identifies as transgender and prefers male pronouns. 14-year-old kid doesn't know anything, but she knows that she's not a she. Okay. The child's parents are separated, and the father reportedly began litigation against the teen's mother after learning of the transition. What a good father. The issue was settled by the Supreme Court of British Columbia last year, ordering the father not to stand in the way of his teenage child's hormone transition treatment and to try and better understand gender dysphoria. So this is funny because first they admit that the child has a mental illness, gender dysphoria. But they don't address the mental illness. They just say, hey, she has a mental illness, but she can just do as she wishes, and you have to accept it. Also, this is interesting. The parents are divorced, even if they weren't. When you travel around the world with kids, you need permission from both parents. You can't just take them. When you do a hormone treatment that will permanently affect your life, you should have consent from both parents. Actually, let me rephrase that. Children should not be allowed even with the consent of the parents until they're 18 years old because that is child abuse. It just is. The Supreme Court ordered the child to receive testosterone injections without obtaining parental consent. The court also declared that if either of her parents referred to her using female pronouns or addressed her by her birth name, they would be considered guilty of family violence. On top of this, Hoogland was told to stop speaking to the media about the case, warning him the public attempts to undermine his child's wishes was a form of family abuse. When the child was in seventh grade, the girls' school urged the need for Hoogland's daughter to see a psychologist, Dr. Wallace Wong, who recommended she would begin taking cross-sex hormones at 13. Okay. This is the last part I'm going to read to you. Hoogland cited that his daughter's alleged history of health issues, and refused to give permission. Doctors at BC Children's Hospital decided that the girls should receive testosterone injections even without the consent of the child's father. Because the state knows better what's better for your child than you do, right? Wrong. This is severe child abuse. Yet they're gaslighting you and telling you that if you fight against it, if you fight the courts against your child getting injections at 14 years old, testosterone injections, you're committing family violence. So the first time I saw this, I said, whatever. It's just Canada, right? No, it's not. It's in the United States as well. But before we get to the United States, I want to show you this. The largest survey of transgender and non-binary youth says more than half seriously considered suicide. This is from this year. 2 years ago, there was another study that said that 40% Are you going to tell me that there's not a mental illness in the transgender community? Are you going to say, oh, it's from all the bullying? No, it's not. It just isn't. Let's talk about America. When the state comes for your kids, social workers, youth shelters, and the threat to parents' rights by Abigail Schreier, who has a wonderful book about the transgender epidemic that Amazon took down because of, hate. But I think it's back up now. I'm not sure. You should check it out. Ahmed is a Pakistani immigrant, a faithful Muslim, and until recently, a financial consultant to Seattle's high-tech sector. I'm not surprised this happened in Seattle. But when he reached me by phone in October 2020, he was just one more frightened father. Days earlier, he and his wife had checked their 16-year-old son into Seattle's Children's Hospital for credible threats of suicide. Keep in mind, the kid is 16 years old and clearly has some mental issues going on because, suicide. Now, Ahmed was worried that the white coats who had gently admitted his son to their care would refuse to return him. They sent email to us, you should take your daughter to the gender clinic, he told me. At first, I assumed that there had been a mistake. He had dropped off a son, Zayad, to the hospital. Oh, I had a friend called Zayad in high school. Anyway, in a terrible state of distress. Now, the email he received from the mental health experts used a new name for that son and claimed that he was Ahmed's daughter. They were trying to create a customer for their gender clinic, and they seemed to absolutely want to push us in that direction. He said when I spoke to him again this May, recalling the horror of last October. We had calls with counselors and therapists in that establishment telling us how important it is for him to change his gender. 16 years old. Because that's the only way he's going to get better out of his suicidal, depressive state. That's the only way. These are the mental health experts. Oh, gee, I don't know what's wrong with your son, but maybe if we switch the genders, then we'll fix the whole problem. Oh my God. Zayad had been a straight-A student and, according to his parents and the family therapist, quite brilliant. He's also on the autism spectrum, a young man who neglects to make eye contact and must be given rules for how long to shake hands, shower, etc. High school was a slog for him, as it often is for kids on the spectrum who find that the social demands of adolescence have risen beyond their capacity to meet them. He tried to ask a few girls out, it didn't work out, and he got frustrated and angry, and that kind of thing. And so, those girl-boy things get kind of tough for an autistic kid. Those developmental issues. And that's where puberty can be very, very hard with the hormones rushing and all that stuff. This is one of the most important parts of the whole article. As child psychiatrist and expert in gender dysphoria, Susan Bradley said to me, the message these kids pick up from trans influencers when they're aligned is, we're the only people who understand you. Your people, your parents, they don't really understand you. And it may be the first time in their lives that anybody has said to them, we understand you. We know you. You're okay. You're just like us, and it's powerful. Yeah, it's powerful. That's what they do in cults. They separate you from your family. They tell you they don't understand you. They don't want what's best for you. And when they got you alone, thinking that they can depend on you want what's best for them, that's when they go for your mind. That's when they turn a 16-year-old kid into a 60-year-old girl. It's appalling. It's appalling. Those stories were disturbing and paint a very bleak future for our society. So now we must cleanse our palates. Let's take a look at some crazy, woke, social justice warriors. Of course, in order to judge them correctly, I've got to put on my gear. There will be order in my court. First case on the docket comes from Nickelodeon. Back in my day, Nickelodeon used to play the Rugrats, or that slime show. Today, they got something very different programming, if you will. For example, some type of LGBTQ plus drag queen dancing show, who also, likes to praise communism. You don't believe me? Check it out.
It should fill you with pride, showing who you are on the inside. Wave that pride flag up high, be true to you. Show your pride, wave those flags, everybody. Here we go. Red like orange, healing. Yellow is sunlight. Green, nature. Blue, harmony. Purple is spirit. Baby blue, pink, white represent transgender people, and black and brown represent the queer and trans people of color.
straight to jail. If it's not the state trying to trans your kids, it's large multinational corporations. Are you kidding me? Any person who was involved in the production of this abomination, straight to jail. That includes all the executives of Nickelodeon. 5 years in jail for child indoctrination. Case closed. Next case on the docket is, I don't really know how to explain it, so you might as well just take a look. Maybe you can explain it to me.
Guess what, fuckers?
Hey, watch your mouth when you speak in my courtroom, woman. Or man? Or what? What do we have here? You don't know either? All right, let's keep going, but watch your mouth.
Guess what, fuckers? My patience has run out. Pansexuality is not inherently biphobic. They are both valid sexualities. Both of them. And while yes, I have seen pansexual people use that label for questionable reasons, they pretty quickly get it once you explain things to them. They do. And not only that, but do you know who likes to use specific or micro labels? Neurodivergent people. Sometimes we just have to do whatever we can to feel safe and comfortable. And using a more specific label can be our outlet for that. If you took all that energy you spend calling people biphobic and saying they're performing bi erasure and just educated them, there would be less biphobia. There would be less bi erasure. Because you've explained it and people will know the difference. I've fucking had it with you guys. Jesus fuck.
That's enough, young lady. Or young man. I still don't know how to address this person. And she has them written on her chest, so I guess she's a them. So they're going to jail? They're going to jail. 4 years, not jail. 4 years in rehab. Gotta get that mind straightened out. If it's not straightened out in 4 years, I will consider jail. Case closed. Now, as the internet's most trusted source of justice, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention to you what our current president just said in his new address. What the current president, whatever you want to call him, Beijing Biden, China Joe, Executive Joe, Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter. Our current president, in his new $6 trillion proposal, which will decimate our economy, but that's for another video, he switched the term mother to birthing people. Why? If you ask me, the judge of all judges, that's wrong on so many levels, but that's wrong even for the woke. You see, according to the woke, there are women who cannot give birth. Let me give you an example. A biological male transitions into a woman. By all standards of the left, that person is now a woman. She is now a mother if she has kids. But that person can't give birth. Therefore, Mr. Executive Beijing China Joe, your premise is bigoted, and I don't like it. 5 years no. He's not going to survive 5 years, and if he goes to jail, Kamala takes charge. Seems like we're in a bit of a bind, aren't we? I hope this video didn't disturb you too much, but if it did, worry not, for judges like me are still out there. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, share. That way, my courtroom will get bigger, and I can sentence more people to prison. Wouldn't that be nice? Share, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.